Welcome to this reading of Little Rosy Redhead, written by James Reed. Epilogue. Have you ever been to the Forbidden Triangle? I promise you, it's not for those who are mild, with dangers and mysteries that turn with the tides. You'll discover the secrets that you may hide inside. This place has its joy and its miseries, but they only reflect who we are meant to be. So come with us and stay a while. Our stories may just make you smile. To be different is a thing that should make our hearts sing, as we should all rejoice in the differences we hold outside and within. However, we do not all think the same, and many individuals hold pride in being exactly alike as those around them, and even hold disdain for those who do not fit within this frame. On a small island, and on an even smaller farm, there lived a family that thought this way, that believed their lives were a perfect display, that no individual should dare sway from this belief, nor question it, as that was not deemed okay. This family believed that their way was the best, that even numbers always stood to impress, and that the rules they set must always be stressed. Due to this rule, every animal came in sets of twos. 2 chickens dressed in pretty pink ribbons, 2 ducks who were blessed with very good luck, 2 pigs with tails as frail as twigs, 2 goats that loved to bite on coats, 2 white cats with hair in plaits, and 2 grey dogs shaped like wild hogs. In this family that lived by these strict rules, there lived 6 members, a mother, a father, and 4 children too. 2 boys and 2 girls that for the most part all looked the same. They had eyes as blue as rain dew, hair as black as the feathers of a crow, and as straight and soft as a spider's web. But not all within this family looked the same. There was one child who stood out among the rest, who could not look the same, although she did try her best. It was their youngest daughter who did not look the same, who did not look like her siblings or parents, leaving them to wonder what was to blame for why the youngest daughter did not look the same. Unlike her siblings, her eyes were as green as the leaves of an evergreen tree. Her skin was as pink as strawberries, but most notable of all was her hair, which shared the color of a tangerine and had random curls which swirled and twirled. Because of her looks, her parents nearly never used her name, choosing to call her Little Rosy Redhead, because her hair was all they saw and always caused them to feel shame. Throughout Little Rosy Redhead's years on this farm, her mother did try to make her change and encouraged her siblings to make her feel shame. But although Little Rosy Redhead at times did try to change, try to be like her mother and father and siblings too, so that they could all finally be the same, but the changes her parents tried to make to her hair always seemed to fade. No matter how much they brushed it, the curls would remain, or her hair would grow bushy and her parents would grow tired as it could not be tamed. So instead they focused on the color, as they thought perhaps that was most to blame. But no matter what her mum used, her bright red hair could not be disguised and burned through the products as though they were lies. Lies that her hair would not let her hide behind, lies that if left alone would only grow twice in size, lies that no little girl should feel she needs to feel loved inside. Usually, when Little Rosy Redhead's mother attempts would fail, her mother would scream and cry and wail, but this time was different. There were no tears or even fear that Rosy Redhead became used to seeing over the years. Instead, her mother stood still, stuck in thought. Unsure of what to do, Little Rosy Redhead looked up at her mother, who looked like she hadn't a clue, or where she was, or how to cope with this battle she had once again lost. However, Little Rosy Redhead was growing tired of waiting, and knew of only one way of breaking the silence. "Mother, are you okay? I'm sorry that my hair will not behave. I'm sorry that it will not change. I'm sorry that it always stays the same," said Little Rosy Redhead. As she spoke, her mother's eyes flicked open and began to twitch, as though something on her face had begun to itch. The same little girl. Your hair is driving me insane. This time will not be like the rest. This time things will change. You cannot go to school looking the same. What will they say? Your teachers and other parents will think I'm to blame, replied Little Rosy Redhead's mother. I'm sorry that I cannot change. I would if I could, but my hair is so strange. I don't want you to be embarrassed. I don't want you to be ashamed. I wish I looked more like you and father too, said Little Rosy Redhead. Little Rosy Redhead's mother rolled her eyes, took a deep breath and began to sigh. This time you will not stay the same. This time your hair will change. Before her mother could utter another word, something behind both girls began to stir. Past the living room, just outside the front door, its lock began to screech as each gear began to turn, causing both women to feel a little bit concerned. But from the outside, it was revealed that Little Rosy Redhead's father had returned. Exhausted and tired, he slumped on the couch, as though his body had expired. Her mother ran up to him with such a joy and glee that Little Rosy Redhead before had only dreamed she'd see. Did you get it? Did you get it? Is that it? Hurry up! Why won't you open it? Asked her mother. With a swing of his arm, her father raised the brown package that he had acquired, slumping it on his lap as though it was a gem to be admired. It wasn't easy, you know. That man who owns the store is really quite sleazy. His fees for that stuff made me feel queasy, replied the father. Never mind how you felt. Think of what it will do. Think of how it will spare us the trouble she always makes us go through. As her mother rips through the bag, its contents are revealed to be a jar that looks like it should never be unsealed. As her mother rotates the jar and holds it up to the light, the black goo inside it begins to bubble as though it would ignite. Little Rosy Redhead backs away from her parents, scared of what the black goo will do, but her mother's eyes stick to her as though they are glued to every movement she makes, trapping her in her mother's view. As her mother unwinds the jar, black smoke is released, and the grumble the jar makes sounds like a ferocious beast. Do not back away. If you want to be like us, then you must be brave. You must behave. On your hair this goo will stay, said her mother. But what if something goes wrong? What if my hair turns blue? What if it looks see-through? What if the goo makes my skin look like green stew? What if it gives me the flu? Said Rosy Redhead. We tried the other methods, but they all ended in errors. Your hair is the reason we've had to go through such measures. Now be a good dear and come right here. I just know this goo will make our lives different this year, replied her mother. Whimpering and afraid, Little Rosy Redhead had nothing left to do but obey, as she stood in front of her mother as though she were a statue made of clay. Lifting her arm above Little Rosy Redhead's head, her mother poured out some of the goo until it began to outspread on each of her curly red threads. As the black goo began to spread, it was as though a battle had broke out on her little red head. Her fiery strands did try to burn. It was clear to all how much they yearned to remain on her head, as they were clearly quite stern. At first, this did cause her parents to feel some concern, as they had seen this battle enough times to learn that when they tried to change their daughter's hair, it would often turn into ferocious fires that only desired to burn, so bright that it could even cause sunburn. But this time was not like the others. The goo would not fade, it would not burn away. No, this time the goo was here to stay. It bonded to her hair, extinguished her bright red flames, stealing her once unique flare, and leaving her hair as dark as the night, each strand weighed down and ensnared. Little Rosy Redhead looked up at her parents. Their happiness could not be contained. They smiled at her as they had finally obtained the child she had ought to be. Her mother was so overjoyed, she wrapped her arms around Little Rosy Redhead as though this could finally fill the void the years of distance had forced the two of them to deploy. But could it really be destroyed? Could all be forgiven? Now that she had changed, would her parents now begin to listen? All at once Little Rosy Redhead began to envision the life she could live if she accepted her hair in this new black condition. This has been a reading of Little Rosy Redhead. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and please tune into our other videos on the channel.